He's always calling me Little Marco. And I don't think that he's taller than me, he's like 6'2", which is why I don't understand why his hands are the size of someone who's 5'2". Have you seen his hands? They're like this. And you know what they say about men with small hands? You can't trust them.
You remember when Marco Rubio said that about then candidate Donald Trump when both of them were running for president back in 2016? Well, today, the Supreme Court heard oral arguments about a trademark dispute over Trump's hand size. No, I'm not kidding. The case is called Vidal versus Elster. Steve Elster is a California lawyer who is selling this t-shirt. The front says Trump too small and the back lists a package of policies Elster says Trump goes small on. Well, Elster has been trying to trademark the phrase Trump too small for years, but when he submitted the application to the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office, he was rejected. The Trademark Office said Elster couldn't trademark the phrase because the law bars any mark that identifies a particular living individual without that person's written consent. Obviously, Trump has not consented to his name being used in this way. But Trump was also, for 4 years, the chief executive of the U.S. government. So Elster sued, and ultimately an appeals court sided with him, saying the government denying him the trademark was unconstitutionally restricting his free speech, and went on to say the federal government cannot restrict speech critical of government officials or public figures in the trademark context. Now, an interesting thread in this case is the Biden Justice Department is the one defending Trump. The DOJ is representing the Trademark Office and its position that the trademark should not be granted to Steve Elster. In fact, the Biden DOJ is the one that appealed this specific case to the Supreme Court. Now, even if the Supreme Court rules against Elster and says the Trademark Office can deny him that trademark, there's nothing that would stop him from continuing to sell the t-shirt. He just wouldn't have a trademark on the phrase. During oral arguments today, the justices seem to be leaning in favor of denying Elster the trademark, but as I always say, just because that's how the justices seem during oral arguments doesn't necessarily mean that's how they're going to ultimately rule. The final ruling in this case will likely be made at the end of the term in June.